Hi again, everybody. Marvin Kilborn here. I'm a retired public school teacher. For those of you that have been following along, this is my 25th and final video telling my story of my 15 years working within public education. My last video was part 3 of Tatum High School. I pretty much left off with spring break of 2020, where we all went off home to spring break, and then of course COVID had reared its ugly head, and schools all over the nation, including Tatum High School and Tatum ISD, essentially just all closed their doors, just closed down, trying to figure out what the heck to do with COVID. And I mean, I'm not unsympathetic to that. It was a new illness, and the country, nobody, our leaders, I mean, nobody truly knew how serious this was, or what to do about it, or how deadly the disease was, and all that. So in part, I get it, I understand, but it just annoyed me that public education just chose to close its doors and basically quit. We did go to a virtual type of teaching. First time I'd ever done anything like that. It wasn't horrible. For me, it was interesting because I teach Algebra 1. So basically, right up to spring break, I was done. I had finished teaching everything I was supposed to teach for the year. When we came back for spring break, I was going to start my review with my students, getting them ready for the state test. So essentially, all the skills and knowledges and everything had been taught. We were just going to review the heck out of all this stuff, getting ready for the state test, which, as far as those great test scores that I always got when I was teaching, that's essentially how I did it. I taught all the math skills, and then I did a very lengthy review, reinforcing these skills and also presenting them in a way they were going to see it on the state STAR, state Algebra 1 test, so they would be ready. So this virtual instruction thing didn't really bother me too much, because all I was doing is, again, if you watch the last video, Ms. Matthew Quick had basically directed us core subject teachers to give the students one assignment a week, a really easy 10, 15-minute assignment just once a week, and then if they turned it in, they basically got 100. For those students that decided to do nothing, well, we were ordered to give them 70s. Nobody was going to fail. And nobody was going to get a failing grade just because of COVID. So that went okay. There's so much going on here. I hope I'm going to try to keep this in some kind of order as to what happened leading me up to retiring when I did. I know I've told you before, and I've said, I always said the whole time I was teaching, I'd always planned to teach until I was 70. But the things that I had experienced throughout my 15-year career, and especially over the last couple years, I was done. I was tired of not being appreciated, not being respected, not being acknowledged. It just wore on me and wore on me. And then, of course, when they started, the district, Tatum, started wasting money on all this crap that they didn't even need, and employing people, creating new positions, administrative level positions that we didn't need. I'd had my fill. So during spring break and during COVID, while we're all at home, and I was able to spend so much time and again, this is while I'm supposed to be in school teaching. So we're all at home getting paid to do pretty much nothing. Not that I'm complaining there, but the money's nice. But I spent all this time doing these little projects around the house, and gardening and tending to my gardens and spending time with my wife. Each night we would fire up the fire pit in the backyard, well, when it got cool enough, because it was one of the things my wife wanted me to do, was build a fire pit. So I built a fire pit and a big patio in our backyard, and we'd sit out there at night, whether the fire pit was on or not, and just sit by the lake and just enjoy and appreciate what we had. And I started telling my wife, you know what, honey, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. I think I'm going to go ahead and do one more year of teaching and try to retire. So it really got me to thinking seriously about retiring. And now in Texas, teachers follow what's called a rule of 80. In order to be able to retire and start drawing your pension, that's the key, start drawing your pension immediately, you have to meet the rule of 80. So what that means is your age plus your years of teaching experience have to add up to 80. I kind of benefit greatly from this because I'd already done my military career. So I was quite old, in my late 40s, early 50s. Yeah, early 50s by the time I got into teaching. So I'm in my 50s, and last summer or last spring break, March, April of 2020, when we were discussing this, I'm looking at, so okay, I'm 61 years old. I'm going to be 62 in October of 2020. I've got 12 years of Texas teaching experience. So I'm going into my 13th year. So 62 and 13 is 75, right? 75. So I'm basically 5 away from being able to retire and go ahead and draw my pension. Well, one neat thing, teachers, at least here in Texas, we can buy years of service credit. So, and the most you can buy is 5. Well, it's perfect for me. I need 5 to get to the rule of 80 so that I can retire anytime I want. Now, I'd already told my principal, Matthew Quick, I promised him I would not leave the school in a lurch. I wouldn't be one of those teachers that retire like at Christmas time and then they have to go hire a new teacher to finish out my year, or maybe a lot of times what they do is they just put that load on another teacher and make another teacher do double duty rather than replace that teacher. And I never thought that was very fair to the teacher. That would suck. Like, hey, Mr. Kilborn, somebody just quit, so you got to start teaching their classes too. That would really suck because there's no more money in it or anything like that. So anyway, I made that promise, but you know what? I got to thinking, these people have been very loyal to me. Now, I hadn't really started thinking that way quite yet because I was planning to do my 13th year at Tatum, and I decided to go ahead and go to the teacher retirement system, Texas Education Association, and go ahead and buy 5 years. So I looked into what that was going to cost me, and I paid $22,000 to buy 5 years. That sounds like a lot of money, and $22,000 is a lot of money, but I gladly paid it. I said, you know what? I want to at least be in a position to where I've met the rule of 80. If I do this last year like I promised, that'd be great. Or I can at least work up until Christmas, because teachers that are retiring, if you work at least half the year, you get credit for the full year. So that gave me the rule of 80. But again, going into it, I had planned to teach the whole year. So anyway, I get a little ahead of myself there, but that's my thinking. I've decided I've had my fill. I'm just not happy anymore. I mean, I still love teaching. I love being a teacher. I'll probably always say that, and I'll always mean that. I truly did enjoy and love all the years I spent with those children in the classroom teaching and all that. It was good, and I was good at it, and I had a great relationship with the kids. Fond memories that will last me the rest of my life. But anyway, we're closed down, and we're doing these virtual lessons, and essentially I put all my lessons on this thing called Google Classroom, which I hated, but I still pretty much was forced into using it that last year. But it actually worked out pretty good. I don't know that I would use it full time if classes went back to full time in school instruction, but it was kind of neat. I loaded my lessons on the Google Classroom, and the kids would just log into their Chromebooks at home or wherever they were and do the lesson and then submit it to me. One thing happened. I had one kid. It's interesting. I don't remember the kid's name. It's not important. I wouldn't mention his name anyway. But we had a boy that before spring break, he had tried to set the school on fire. Now that's a bit of an exaggeration. He's in the school gymnasium, and he was trying to start the bleachers on fire. Of course, the bleachers are made of plastic, so good luck, idiot. But anyway, he's still got a match lighter or whatever, and he's trying to. So they caught him. He got turned in. Excuse me. Plus, it was on video, idiot. So they put the kid in AEP. So now, when I taught, I wrote my own lessons, and I always provided my students with lessons, and I told them don't throw them away. There's no requirement to keep them all year long, but I said, look, later on we're going to be reviewing and getting ready for a test. There may be an assignment that comes up that these lessons are good for, which they are good. So I would tell my students, don't throw them away. So after spring break, when we're doing these online instructions, and I'm giving the kids one assignment a week, and it wasn't going to be that many more weeks. Think about it. This is spring break in March, and school's over in May, typically. So I'm assigning the kids the easy lesson. I'm even telling the kids what lesson the assignment is from, so they can go to the lesson they saved, because I told them to save them, and do the quick, easy lesson and send it back to me. So I had this kid who had tried to set the bleachers on fire, and he had been sent to AEP, Alternative Education, in school, and before. So anyway, he had messaged me, and he said, look, Mr. Kilborn, he said, we have a family friend that used to teach math, and she doesn't know what you're talking about here. I'm not going to teach a math lesson here, but it was called constant correlation. We were studying correlation and association, and this thing was constant correlation. And I had put right in the notes what a constant correlation was, and that was their assignment for the week, was to define the four different kinds of correlations. And the kid wrote me, he said, this friend used to be a math teacher, and she doesn't know what she's never heard of a constant correlation, so she doesn't think you know what you're talking about. Like, yeah, way to piss me off, man. Here I am, a fully certified, fully licensed, very, very successful Algebra 1 teacher, and now you got some family friend telling you that I might not know what I'm talking about because she used to be an algebra teacher and just doesn't know what a constant correlation is. Great, perfect thinking. So anyway, I wrote the kid back. I said, well, use the lesson. As I said, a reminder, this is the lesson. I forget which one. Use this lesson. That's where you'll find your answer. And of course, he writes me back. He said, I don't have that lesson. I threw it away. And I probably wasn't very nice about it, but I wrote him back and said, well, that's kind of on you, young man. I mean, I told you to keep the lessons, and you chose not to, so Google it. You can find it out there on the internet. Anyway, I guess he didn't like my response to that, so his mommy called Matthew Quick to complain about me not being cordial and respectful or whatever to her son. Now, keep in mind, it's the same boy who tried to set the school bleachers on fire. So as far as I'm concerned, the little punk shouldn't even still be in school. And the family ought to be contrite enough to know, you know what, our boy is lucky to still be going to that school. They tried to burn something, so they're letting him. So they shouldn't really be criticized or complaining about anything. And as far as I'm concerned, Matthew Quick should have realized the same thing. As soon as this boy's mom had called to complain about me, his first thought should have been, ma'am, you're lucky your son's even still in school. So what exactly did Mr. Kilborn do? But no, Mr. Quick, he calls me at home. Of course, it is duty hours. It's during the day, and we're technically still employed, so working. So I guess it's all right. But he calls me at home to chastise me and ask what happened, and told me, make sure you're aware of how to communicate with your students and their parents. Be respectful, Mr. Kilborn. Well, that pissed me off. And there were a few other things that happened. And again, school's in session. This is still the 2019-2020 school year. For some reason, I just started thinking about a lot of stuff. And maybe that's normal too. As we get older, you just start looking back and thinking and contemplating on things. But during COVID, I just got to thinking about a lot of different aspects of my life, whether it was my personal relationship with family and friends, or my past, or my experiences within public education. I decided to do about once a week, I was going to write a little message on my Facebook page, nowhere else, just my Facebook page, stupid social media. And I called it COVID Reports. So I would do like a COVID report, just ramblings, just my thinkings. I'd spend a while writing it up, and then I'd post it on my Facebook page. And yeah, there were a couple that I wrote that were about public education and how we were handling COVID. And it wasn't positive, it was negative. I was expressing my opinions. The thing is, though, I didn't mention anybody. I didn't mention any names. I didn't mention any schools. I didn't mention people. I just wrote about what I thought about certain things, positive or negative, and started posting those to my Facebook page, calling them COVID Reports. Well, then next thing I know, Matthew Quick's calling me at home, telling me he's getting complaints from people. They're complaining about certain things that I'm posting to my Facebook page. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're fielding calls, Quick, you're claiming people are calling you complaining about what's on my Facebook page. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Matthew Quick, Richardson, any of these damn public school administrators, what he should have just said, leave me alone. I don't care what anybody is posting on their damn Facebook page or Twitter or whatever else you're talking about. I've got a job to do. I'm speaking as Mr. Quick here, trying to get ready for graduation, trying to get ready for the next school year. He's got a job to do, and he's saying people are pestering him and complaining about what I'm putting on my Facebook page. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Quick should have manned up and just said, get out of my office or get off my phone. I don't care what people are putting on their damn Facebook pages. I got a job to do. And unless Mr. Kilborn is doing anything inappropriate at work or work-related, then leave me alone about it. Don't care. Don't have time for this nonsense. I'm not the Facebook police, not the social media police. But no, he didn't do that. He took it upon himself to call me and complain and tell me what was happening and tell me to be careful and not to badmouth anybody. And of course, I asked him, Mr. Quick, have you looked at what I've written on my Facebook page? He goes, no, I haven't. I said, well, maybe you should. I mean, you know what? You're Facebook friends with a lot of your teachers. And I didn't actually tell this to him, but this is what I'm thinking. You're Facebook friends with a bunch of your teachers, which he was. You're not Facebook friends with me, though. Not that I want to be, but you better be careful, Mr. Quick. You're picking favorites. And all these people work for you. But anyway, so I just kept doing my thing. I didn't care, but I'm kind of having my fill. And of course, by this point, I'd already purchased I'd applied with the state to buy my 5 years of service credit, which was going to be really cool because in October I would turn 62, and buying this 5 years, including the 13 that I would have, that gave me the rule of 80. So anyway, so we go through the rest of the school year, go through the summer. Not much really exciting happened. We end up going back to school the next year. And of course, as everybody knows, because a lot of schools are still doing this, we're in masks and we're trying to maintain a 6-foot distance. Now that's pretty hard to do in a classroom. You got a classroom that's roughly 450 square feet. You got 20-something kids in there. It's impossible. You can't spread them out by 6 feet. It's almost impossible. So I did the best I could with that once I got my seating charts and knew how many students were going to be in my classes. One of the problems with this was the next year when we started, what the district should have done, and every district should have done this in my opinion, we're open. Okay, we are going to be wearing masks. We're going to be sanitizing. We're going to be maintaining a social distance. We're going to be doing all the things we're supposed to be doing under COVID, but the school is open. Everybody needs to come back, and we're going to have in-school instruction. No, Tatum High School, Tatum ISD was just another one of these dumbass school districts that decided, no, we're going to have both. We're going to offer our students the chance, the opportunity, if they want, parents and students, if they want to do virtual instruction, they can stay home and the teachers will accommodate them somehow, some kind of virtual instruction. Well, that became a joke pretty quick. A lot of teachers, especially, I'm mainly focusing on my math department because I got annoyed with them. There was 4 of us math teachers, and my lessons, I hand wrote them. I wrote them in order to be self-taught. That was the intent when I wrote all of my lessons, was I could give my algebra lessons to anybody and they could sit and teach themselves this, because I had sample problems. I mean, they were really, really good lessons. And that's all I did was just put these lessons on Google Classroom, and the kids that wanted to stay home, well, they could study the lesson that I had provided them without me talking to them. And if they had a question, they could email me or message me or something, which they did. But there was all kinds of thoughts about it. Teachers were doing video lessons. We had teachers putting in 18, 19, 20 hours a day trying to accommodate and do their job. Now, teachers aren't paid enough to put in a solid 8-hour day, I'll tell you, especially with all the stuff we have to deal with. But these teachers that were going out of their way to basically teach two different ways, creating their lessons for in-school instruction, in-class instruction, and then also doing some kind of online or video type lessons, it was insane. Plus my other three counterparts, so they all wanted the district to buy them all this fancy equipment and applications. They wanted to spend all this money buying all these applications and stuff so that they could present their math lessons to their virtual students. And they kept coming to me asking if I want to be a part of it. I'm like, no, I don't want to be a part of it. I said, my lessons are good. I write my own lessons, unlike the rest of you. Maybe you should write your own lessons. Actually be a teacher for a change. So my lessons are good. They're self-teachable. My students are having no problems with it. So no, I don't need the district to go out and spend a bunch more money on crap that none of us need. So that was another thing that was getting to me. It was like, I don't know, I guess I was past the point of no return. Nothing could make me happy. I was just complaining and bitching about everything and finding fault in everything, which isn't good. You try to be upbeat, try to be positive, but I was just getting, everything about this was just getting old. And then, of course, one other thing that happened was the district superintendent, old J.P. Richardson, thinking he's actually in charge of something. We were having Zoom meetings, and we're talking about the next school year. And one thing Mr. Richardson said was there wasn't going to be a football. He's the superintendent now. He's the top dog, right? He's running the whole show. The school board has hired this man to run the district. And one of the things he decided, and I agreed with him, was we were not going to have a football. We were not going to field a football team, not have a football season, because, well, gee, you want to spread COVID, football field is a perfect place to do it, especially back in August of this year, August of last year, sorry. I mean, COVID is still raging, it's going strong, and don't know exactly what the heck's going on. But this guy says we're not going to have a football season. So I know the coaches aren't happy with me. He said even his own son who plays football wasn't happy with him because he canceled the football season. But it was and he kept harping. He said my main goal here, the main priority in Tatum is the safety and well-being of our students. So I'm not going to put our students, in a position to get hurt or get sick or anything. Well, school starts, and lo and behold, sure enough, the football coaches, I guess, won. If nothing else, it's like, all right, superintendent, I guess you're not as grand and powerful as you think you are. You said there wasn't going to be a football season, or at least we weren't going to field a team because of the risk of COVID spread. But either the parents, the coaches, the school board, somebody got to you and they changed your mind. You cowed, you caved, you just gave in. You you abandoned your principles. You had it right, and then you decided, well, no, okay, let them have. Anyway, so we're having a football season. After the first damn game, we had several students and a couple coaches tested positive for COVID. So just like that, all the football players and all the coaches are at home quarantined. So the coaches aren't at school teaching the classes they're supposed to be teaching or coaching their sports. The students, and there's a bunch of them, keep in mind Tatum High School is only about somewhere between 400 and 500 students. It's a small place. So for every single football boy and sponsors and everybody else associated with the team, they were all quarantined at home for a couple weeks. So no teaching got done then. Teaching itself wasn't a whole lot of fun for me. I set up my classroom. We kept social distance. I put as much space as I possibly could between the students and the desks. We all wore masks. But the fun part of teaching was kind of taken from me. The kids would just come in, get on their Chromebooks, open up the lesson I had assigned them, and go to work. And I'm basically just sitting there taking attendance and trying to answer questions if they have them. And on occasion, I could actually get up front and teach something. But for the most part, the kids are self-studying, sitting. So for me, as an interactive kind of teacher, somebody that likes to interact with my students, the fun was kind of gone. So all right, what else was going on there? All right, so that's pretty much how the school year is going. Nothing too exciting about that. We're in the first 6 weeks of the school year. There were people complaining, not just me, but other teachers on their Facebook pages complaining about COVID and complaining about how the district's handling COVID, and just teachers all over the place we're not happy. complaining about stuff, and I was one of them, and I went on my Facebook page and I put comments, but again, not bad-mouthing anybody in particular, using any names or anything, just expressing my frustration with how the school year is going and with how the country's and the school district is handling COVID. There was one I told you about in a couple of videos, Barbara Puckett, Barbara Puckett was the department chair, the math department chair. And along the way, she had sent me a friend request on Facebook. I try to keep my friends limited on Facebook because, let's face it, nobody's got hundreds or thousands of friends on Facebook or anywhere else. But there they are. You got people out there, thousands of friends. Really? Name them. Really? Tell me all the names of all your Facebook friends. You got thousands of friends. Nobody's got thousands of friends. But Barbara Puckett's one of these. She's got like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of so-called friends. So she posts up on her Facebook page too. And she sent me a friend request, which I accepted. At the time, I had nothing against Barbara Puckett. So she had posted something complaining about how we were being required to take attendance. It was really dumb. We had to take attendance pretty much all day long. And for the virtual students, for the virtual kids, we couldn't verify or guarantee that they were going to do any work, but they were expected to sign in, email, log into Classroom, do something to inform their teachers that they were present. It just mainly means I'm alive and breathing somewhere. And the kids had until midnight. If the kids signed in, just told us sometime all the way up to midnight that they were present, then we had to mark them present. And if the teacher had already marked a student absent for the day, and then the kid later on sends an email, oh, by the way, I'm breathing, then the teacher would have to change and correct the attendance to present. So Barbara Puckett posted something complaining about it, and I said, you know what we should do? We ought to all just mark all the kids present. I mean, my God, this is a joke anyway. It's all about the money. Schools receive money based on how many kids are actually in the building that day or present that day. So for these kids, these virtual kids that weren't even really in school, weren't even in the building, we were expected to mark them present even though they weren't. So I had responded to Barbara Puckett's complaining about the attendance thing and said, well, what we should do is just mark them all present. And it's all about the money anyway, so just mark them present. Well, somebody, again, took exception to what I had written. See, at this point, I'm being targeted by probably people I work with. Actually, I'm almost 100% positive of at least one person who was complaining about me and turning me in every time she got a chance. I'm not going to mention her name here. You know, I show her more respect than she showed me. But so anyway, Mr. Quick comes to my classroom and complains. Hey, I got a complaint about something you wrote on Facebook, and he printed it out. He went to Facebook and went to Barb Puckett's page and printed out what I had written. Now he's ignoring the fact that Puckett and a bunch of other teachers are complaining. You're going to focus in on me, and somebody complained only about me? Really? All right. Anyway, so that pissed me off. So I went home and I actually did another little Facebook post complaining about tattletales. I said, tattletales are assholes. Don't you hate tattletales? And I've got a tattletale that I work with. It keeps trying to get me in trouble. And I probably should have left the work part out, but whatever. I don't care. It's like we do have a freedom of speech, right? I mean, when I was in the military, your freedoms are somewhat restricted because military necessity, national necessity, and whatnot. It's not like you can just go and talk to whoever you want about anything you want. But this is just a damn school district, you know. So they're trying to be thought police and criticize me. So when I went home and did the post about don't you hate tattletales, very next day, Matthew Quick comes to my room again. I got a complaint, Mr. Kilborn. And he printed it out so I could read what I had already written on my Facebook page. And I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. Why are you bothering me about shit I'm putting on social media? And I mean, why are you even concerned about it? It's not bothering anybody. Well, later on, he called me into his office, and he actually wrote 2 letters of reprimand, this idiot. He writes me up, he writes a letter of reprimand for the one where I had piled on Barbara Puckett's page saying this is what we should do. So he wrote me a letter of reprimand about that, saying something about I had violated district social media policy. And then he turned around and wrote me And the same day, I went down. Well, the same seating. I'm sitting in my seat there. He gives me 2 letters of reprimand. One about the thing that I had written on Puckett's page, and then also the one I wrote about hating tattletales. And I'm like, man, this is really stupid. Now, again, this is all the first 6 weeks still, too. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I've starting to think, you know what? Quick, I promised you I would finish out the year, but it's no. It was frustrating to me, and I'll probably say this again later, but I'm going to say it now. What was annoying was all these years, couldn't get nobody could tell me I was appreciated. You couldn't acknowledge or recognize my contributions to the district. You couldn't find any fault in anything I ever did while I'm in the classroom or teaching or doing my job. You can't praise me, and then you also can't criticize me. So nothing's going on there. You're not finding any fault in me at work, but you're going to write me up at work for nonsense, stupid nonsense that I wrote on a Facebook page? Wow. Well, hey man, I'm a pretty slow learner sometimes. I always like to think the best of people and give people the credit, the benefit of the doubt. But by this point, they had proven to me that, you know what, Mr. Kilborn, we don't respect you. As a matter of fact, we may not even like you very much. We just tolerate you. So, but we're going to write you up. So it looked like what he was going to do was just start writing me up for any little thing I did that he thought was wrong. Well, that's the first clue that they're trying to get rid of you. Well, I wasn't going to worry too much about that. If anything else, this was going to be my last year, and I could apply to retire anytime I want. I bought the 5 years, so I've already met the rule of 80. So, hey, if I'm really fed up with this, I can quit. So, all right. So, I'm sorry. I'm kind of dragging this out a little bit. I'm about done, actually, believe it or not. Got on Facebook once. There was a little girl, but this is back when I was in Henderson High School. I have to kind of go back to Henderson. So we're going back about 8 years. And there was a bunch of kids that I taught at Henderson and in all the other districts I taught in. And of course, all those kids are now adults. They're in their early 20s. They're all graduated now. This one girl named Olivia Lane Odom. I knew her. I wasn't one of her teachers. We had 2 Algebra 1 teachers, and Olivia, her math teacher, her algebra teacher, was a guy named Russell Wiley. And I had volunteered to coach a UIL team. I was going to coach a speech team. And the only person who had signed up to be on the team was Olivia Lane Odom. So she came to my room, said she wanted to be on the speech team. And I'm explaining to her, well, excuse me, we need more people. And I'm explaining to her too. So look, we're going to have to go on road trips. We're going to be spending a whole lot of time in a classroom or somewhere together, me coaching and you preparing for competitions and things like that. So we need a bigger team. We need more. It can't be just you. And also the fact that she was a young girl, I wasn't going to put myself in that kind of position. I mean, teachers are so vulnerable to being accused of crap anyway, and teachers are accused of stuff all the time. And I learned way back in Dallas that you be very, very, very careful. So I'd spent pretty much my whole career just protecting my own backside and trying not to put myself in any vulnerable position to where anybody could accuse me of anything. So I'm not going to be sitting alone with a little young 14-year-old kid in my classroom. So I explained to her. So anyway, we ended up not doing it. She couldn't get anybody else to do the speech thing. So anyway, but on occasion we'd still talk. She was a nice girl, just a sweetheart, just a nice kid. And we'd talk on occasion. And then after she graduated, she joined the military, got married. Well, no, she joined the military and for some reason got kicked out of that. I don't know for a fact what happened there. I actually think she went in pregnant. So they booted her out. But they put her out of the military. Next thing you know, she actually, about a couple years after she graduated, she sent me a Facebook friend request and an instant message. So we caught up a little bit, chatting. She said the military thing didn't work out for her, but she was very happy. She was married, had a baby, living the life, just happy. And she sent me a friend request. And, although she's not truly a friend, I mean, how many of our Facebook friends are real solid, true friends? A lot of friends are just kind of acquaintances, people you knew once upon a time. And nothing really wrong with that. But I try to keep my friends list on Facebook small. And you can go to my Facebook page if you want. Check it out. It's an open book. It's public. And as a matter of fact, Olivia Lane Odom's Facebook page is public too. And when I get through telling this little story, some of you might want to actually go to Olivia Lane Odom's Facebook page, scroll back to about October 1st of 2020, and you can check to see what I'm about to tell you was true. Well, I wasn't aware that Olivia, along the way, had become well, she divorced her husband, and I guess she now has more of an affinity for girls. But she also become, and I didn't realize this, became angry. Just another one of these angry, oh God, angry 20-something-year-olds. Why they're so angry, I don't know. But Olivia, I guess, just became angry. And one day I opened up my Facebook page and I noticed there was something on my feed. I don't typically go to everybody's Facebook page. But this feed said something along the lines of, why isn't Breonna Taylor getting the same respect as Kyle Rittenhouse? Kyle Rittenhauer, is that the name? I can't remember the boy's name, but he was the kid caught up in the riots last year where he had shot somebody. He was a white guy, and he was getting, supported. And everybody should know what the Breonna Taylor story. If you don't know that, then search for it. But Olivia had posted this thing, something about, well, why isn't Breonna Taylor getting the same respect or whatever? And so I wrote, well, I have found, I have found, I don't remember exactly, but I wrote something like, I have found that if I obey the law, I don't typically have problems with law enforcement. Why can't the rest of these people figure that out? Oh my God. From that simple little statement, I became a pariah. And the Facebook mob, the internet mob, just unleashed upon me. I got to experience for myself this rage mob, this cancel culture mindset, this wokeism stuff. Even got accused, I got accused from my comment, got accused of being a racist. People started piling on, not on me. I mean, it was piling on me, but it was on Olivia's Facebook page. And I was watching it. I'm watching these comments, and it's like, all these people are out of the blue, and I don't know hardly any of them at all. I knew Olivia, but basically out of the hundreds of people that decided to attack me for that simple comment, it just got crazy. The first person, I'm not going to name all the people because it would just take me too damn long. Again, if you want to go to Olivia Lane Odom's Facebook page, scroll back to October 1st of 2020, and look for, there's like this collage, there's this square, and there's all these little copied and pasted things in there, making me out to be just the most worst, horrible person on the planet. If you want to go check that out, go ahead. Olivia's Facebook page is public. You can read all the comments. They weren't nice. I mean, and again, none of these people know me, and I don't know these people. But the first person to pile on, and it was almost immediate, was a girl named Allie Morris. Now, I vaguely remember Allie Morris from Henderson. I actually think I taught Allie Morris, and I think she's the girl whose mommy complained. Allie, if I'm remembering her, she complained that she could not learn the way that I teach Algebra 1. So she complained to her mom that she wasn't going to get the grades that she wanted to have because of the way I teach Algebra 1. So we had to have this parent conference that just got stupid. It lasted well over an hour, me trying to appease this girl's mommy and daddy complaining. It was just ridiculous and insulting to me too. And even after the parent meeting, all they did was they transferred her kid out of my class into Russell Wiley's class. Now, I could be wrong. This may not be the Allie Morris that complained or piled on, but I'm thinking that's who it is. But whatever. She piled on immediately. You're a horrible person. You shouldn't even be. I can't believe they let you teach our kids. You should not be allowed in a classroom. You're a danger. I mean, she just attacked me. And then there it goes. The floodgates are open. Allie Morris kind of started it. Olivia Lane chimed in. Started attacking me. And then somewhere along the way, this girl named Chelsea De La Rosa. Now, I don't know Chelsea De La Rosa. I don't recognize that name. But one of the things in every school that I've ever taught at, I always bought yearbooks for some reason. I just thought maybe it'd be something cool to look back on someday. But I buy yearbooks, and I also had I did my seating charts on Microsoft Excel and saved them to my computer. So I've still got every single seating chart I ever used with all the students' names on them just stored away on my computer, on my hard drive. So I went to searching for this Chelsea De La Rosa girl. I looked at the yearbooks. I did finally find her, so she definitely did go to Henderson. But then I'm saying, well, I don't recognize the name. I don't recognize the face. Not that you're going to remember all of your students. My God, I taught well over 1,000 students, probably closer to 2,000 in 15 years. I'm not going to remember them all. So, but then I'm looking at my seating charts for the 2 years I was at Henderson, and she's nowhere to be found. So clearly, I never taught this girl. She had Russell Wiley. Russell Wiley was her teacher. Now, this is where it gets stupid. What Chelsea had written was, yeah, she didn't even mention my name, but she goes, yeah, I lost respect for him when in class one day he told me that if he was 10 years younger, he'd ask me on a date or whatever. That's essentially what she wrote. And again, she didn't say Mr. Kilborn. She just said, yeah, I lost respect for him, blah, 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 when he asked me out on it. When he said if he was 10 years younger, he'd ask me on a date. Now, that's just stupid on its face. For one, okay, when I was in Henderson, I was 54 years old. I'm 62 now. I was 54 when I was in Henderson, the year that Chelsea was a freshman. So think about that. If I truly did tell this little 14-year-old girl that if I was 10 years younger, I'd ask her out, that's just, it's either really sick or really stupid. I'm 54, so she's claiming that I said if I were 44, if I were only 30 years older than you, not 40. If I was only 30 years older, then I'd ask you on a date. Sorry, it didn't happen. Now, I'm not saying Russell Wiley might have or said something like that to her, but it would make more sense. Russell Wiley was a 24-year-old young man, first-year teacher at Tatum. He had just graduated from, Henderson. Just graduated from Henderson just 4 years earlier than that. And now he's back teaching at his old high school. He's 24. So is it possible that 24-year-old Mr. Wiley told this 14-year-old girl that if he were 10 years younger, he'd be interested or ask her? It's possible. It makes a hell of a lot more sense than claiming some 54-year-old man told him that. I mean, hell, if I was going to say something that stupid, it would be, gee, if I were 40 years younger, I would be interested. God. Anyway, she posted that on Olivia's thing, this lie that never even happened. Oh my God. I mean, we're talking within just a matter. I mean, I forget, this was either a Sunday night or a Monday night. It was some night that this happened. And we're talking within just a matter of a few hours, this thing blew up. I was a racist for my comment about the Breonna Taylor thing. I'm a racist. They went onto my own Facebook page and started finding things to complain about and copy and pasting. Olivia and some others went into my Facebook page and were copying stuff on my page into Olivia's page and basically criticizing, making fun of me, whatever, just trying to paint me out to be this horrible person. But my God, I mean, I was a racist, a homophobe, a misogynist. I hated women. And oh yeah, because of what Chelsea wrote, now I'm a pedophile. So this, oh my God, it got ugly. Like I said, I'm almost glad I experienced it, because I hear these stories on the news about how the rage mob, the Facebook mob, the internet mob, whatever, goes to attack people and tries to hurt them and cancel them. I mean, it's all over the news. There's all kinds of stories out there about it. Well, gee, now I'm one of them. I'm being attacked by this huge group of angry young people making up lies about me, making up stories, calling me names. Oh my God. Well, if that weren't bad enough, and again, there's hundreds and hundreds of posts about it, all these people piling on, none of these people that know me. The only one that does know me is Barbara Puckett. She chimed in. Of course, I'm getting a tad bit ahead of myself here, but Barbara Puckett chimed in, got pretty stupid. I'm going to try to remember to explain what she did later. So, but it just got ugly, and of course this got shared and reshared. I mean, Olivia shared this shit with everybody on her friends list. It wasn't good enough to be on her page. She had to blast it out there to the world. So gets out there, and this one guy, there's another, and this really, Bonnie Hairston. There's this woman named Bonnie Hairston. Oh, she was one of the main instigators here. Bonnie Hairston. yeah. I don't know her, but I did a little digging into her. She's an interesting character. But yeah, she piled on too, started, copying my crap and making fun of it and trying to use the stuff that I put on my Facebook page to paint me out to be this horrible, horrible person. Now, you can go to my Facebook page, people. My name is Marvin Kilborn, the same name that's on my YouTube channel. Go to Facebook, go to my Facebook page. You have free reign. Look at whatever you want. I'm an open book. I have nothing to be ashamed of. Just don't. I'm not embarrassed or ashamed by anything I think or anything I write. Hopefully you'll see the same thing when you go to my page. If you do, go ahead. It's public. Anybody can go to it. So anyway, this Bonnie Hairston got involved too. And then this other person, and this is the last person I'm actually going to name by name. His name's Joseph Goonson. Joseph Goonson is some clown, lives up in Arkansas. Just a weird, I checked him out. His face, he's a goof. He's a loser. But he decided to pile on. And what he did was created this little collage of all these little statements, things that people said about me, calling me a pedophile and a racist and a homophobe and blah, 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 who knows what. So, it was everything. And he blasted that out there and also bragged on her Facebook page, Olivia's Facebook page, that he had posted this thing that he created. He copied it over to, he tried to notify the authorities. It was so stupid to watch. I did. I spent hours just watching this thing grow and just going, I was showing my wife, going, my God, look what's going on here, honey. So it's crazy. All these people are nuts. So they tried to report me to the police. They tried to report me to the newspaper, the local TV stations. This Joseph Goonson asshole came on and goes, hey, I just posted this to Tatum Garage Sale. Yeah, that's a weird thing. Little website called Tatum Garage Sale. I guess a lot of towns have this, but if you're having a garage sale, you can advertise your garage sale on this website, and people are going to go to it, Tatum Garage Sale, and find where the garage sale is. Well, this asshole, Joseph Goonson, he decides to post all these lies and everything on the Tatum Garage Sale website. And again, keep in mind, this just like over a period of 3, 4, 5 hours. That's how fast this internet rage nonsense takes off. It just explodes. Well, I go to work the next day, and Mr. Quick comes down. Now, one of the problems, my damn door was locked. It was not functioning. My key card wasn't working, so I'm going around trying to get somebody to open my door. But anyway, Mr. Quick comes down very, very next morning. School hadn't even started yet. Quick comes down and says, Mr. Kilborn, I need to talk to you for a few minutes. Anyway, so he takes me to his office. There's Mr. Quick and, of course, Mr. Clark, who's an assistant principal, who's a great guy. Great guy. No problem with Mr. Clark. Great guy. Wish him well. He should be the principal. But anyway, he comes in and all he tells me is there's been some allegations made against me. He can't go into any detail with me. They don't have enough information yet. But there's been some allegations made against me, so he's going to have to place me on administrative leave with pay while they investigate these allegations and decide what to do with me. So, and of course I tried to tell him, look, it's all fake. This is made up crap. I know exactly what you're talking about. But anyway, so I go home. I'm on administrative leave. These dumbass administrators are going to do some kind of investigation. Now, if you watched my Dallas video, I've already been down this road once before. I had this kid that had accused me of hitting him. And of course, it was easily proven that nothing like that happened. My students even were in the classroom when this supposedly happened. So if you watch that Dallas video, that's what happened there. So I was on administrative leave with pay while they did their little investigation. And from that point, I'm like, well, I'm never going to go through that bullshit again. It's just not going to happen to me. I'm not going to allow these assholes. It annoys me. You're going to investigate me. Quick and Richardson, you're going to investigate me. What the hell qualifies you to investigate anything? Are you licensed investigators? Do you work for the police department? Are you trained in investigative techniques? I seriously doubt it. You're just a damn public school administrator. And as I've said many times before, and I'll continue to say, most of you guys are just a bunch of losers. You're not very smart. You didn't spend much time as a teacher anyway. So I don't have a hell of a lot of respect for you people to begin with. Just leave me alone. Let me do my job. But it annoyed me that they decided they needed to take these crazy accusations seriously, put me on administrative leave with pay to investigate this. Part of what made me mad about this, these are about, now, Richardson and Quick, keep in mind, these people have known me for 3 damn years. I've been at Tatum for 5. This is my 6th year. These people know me. They don't know any of these idiots that are making these accusations, these false accusations against me and plastering it somewhere like Tatum Garage Sale. As far as I'm concerned, the leadership at Tatum ISD should have said, well, for one, we're not going to take this shit seriously. My God, if there was really a problem here, if there was an issue, these people, if they were truly concerned about something that happened, they should come to the school or call the school directly and be plastering the crap all over Tatum Garage Sale, hoping to try to get me in trouble, because that's all they were trying to do, was trying to hurt me, which is all the rage mob does. They just, their mission is to destroy and to hurt. These are loser people that probably life hasn't worked out for them. You know, they spent their entire lives being told how special they were, given trophies just for breathing, and all of a sudden they're in their 20s and they're learning that they're just not that well equipped for the world. They're not as special as they were always told they were. And now, I don't know, it's just my opinion. Later on, I'm going to be doing reaction videos, and I'll probably explore this idea a little bit more. But I think they're just angry because the world's not perfect. They're not being treated like they're perfect and special and all that, so they're lashing out. And I just believe that's what's happening. And in this case, they decided to attack me, to the point where all these people that don't even know me decided to believe what they were reading and attack me. And my own leadership decided to give these people credence. Treat them like they were serious people, and that, gee, this guy, Marvin Kilborn, who you've known for 3 years, ooh, he's been accused of something. We're going to investigate it. It was crazy. Part of what pissed me off was the very prior year to that, we had a coach. He was a basketball coach and also a teacher. And he had been accused of inappropriate behavior by 3 or a group of our own girls, our own high school, the girls that are in our own Tatum High School. These girls complained about this man's behavior. He wasn't placed on administrative leave. He wasn't embarrassed. I mean, they just basically swept the accusations under the carpet. So they couldn't prove what the girl said was true. They didn't have a camera out there, whatever. They couldn't prove that what they were saying that this teacher did was true. So it just got swept under the rug. No administrative leave, no nothing. No, me, the guy that's brought this great success to your school, you're gonna take, no. So like I say, I said earlier, and I'll say it again, I think by this point they've proven to me they're trying to get rid of me, or trying to run me off, or trying to do something. And I'm like, that's fine. Richardson, Quick, you two are a couple fucking losers anyway. And I know you just want to, it's a lot easier to manage people that you hired. You didn't hire me. I wasn't your boy. I was hired under D. Hart and Alan Cook. So I'm not truly yours. I just work here. And I know that's just kind of how it works. They didn't care for that. So it would have been easier if they could just get rid of every teacher that had already been there and hire a whole new crew, to where Mr. Quick could actually feel like he was in charge of something and actually the boss of people. So they put me on administrative leave. I go home, and again, I'm just about done. This is when I decide. I tell my wife, you know what, honey, we've been saying this since March. The life I want to be living is here at home. One thing I didn't throw in there, my wife had fallen down and broken her hip too back in, I don't remember exactly when it was. It was sometime after spring break happened, though, and before school started, July, June. She'd fallen down and broke her hip. My wife's older than I am, and we're both old. I'm 62. She's 73 now. But she fell down and broke her hip, had to have surgery to fix that. But sadly, she hasn't been quite the same. So it benefits me to be home with her to help her recover and help her go through her day. and working way out in Tatum, an hour from home. I mean, I could do it. I didn't retire because of my personal things at home, but I told her, you know what, heck with it. So I jumped on the TEA website, Texas Education Association website, or TRS, whichever one it was. Went ahead, like I said, I had already purchased my 5 years of service credit. So I went ahead and applied to retire, effective. Well, I called them too because I wasn't sure how this worked. I called the TRS and they explained to me that since I'm already retirement eligible, I've met the rule of 80. I can retire anytime I want. I mainly just have to be employed up until the end of December or through Christmas. So this was the end of September when this happened. It was basically the last day of September. And on the first day, I want to say it was of October of 2020, I went, like I said, I went ahead and went on and applied to retire. Next day, I was ordered to report to the superintendent's office and for a meeting. But I wasn't going to give these idiots the satisfaction of meeting with me. My God, like I said, if you watch my Tatum High School videos, you'll know I have not a whole lot of use for Quick or Richardson. So, and at this point, it's like, no, you guys don't want to respect me. You don't want to appreciate me. You can't find fault in anything I'm doing at work. But now you want to start criticizing every little thing I do, and to the point where you're gonna take these idiots seriously and put me on administrative leave. No, not playing. I had 65 days of leave saved up. I'm one of those guys, one of those teachers that never ever takes off. I mean, I work every single day. So I had 65 days of leave saved up. So I applied to retire. Went ahead and wrote up my letter of resignation / retirement and took it that very next morning, took it to my little meeting with Richardson and Quick and Mr. Fight, and that was it. Those are the only three that were there. And Mr. Richardson, of course, said, "Good morning, Mr. Kilborn. Sorry we have to meet under these circumstances." And I'm like, of course, I'm not. Circumstances, all right. Well, this might help you out. So I gave him a manila envelope that I put my letter in. I said, this might help you out, so let me give this to you now. And of course, he was kind of taken aback. He goes, "What's this?" I said, "I'm quitting. I'm done. I've had enough. I'm too good for this crap. I'm not putting up with it anymore." I said, you know, this nonsense that you think you're going to investigate is all bullshit. It was a lie based on nothing more than an innocent comment that I had made. But anyway, he said, "Look, you're not going to investigate me, or if you do, go ahead. You're not going to find anything." And I was pissed. Like I said, nothing qualifies these people to investigate anything. They're not cops. If pedophilia, if they were truly thinking that I was guilty of pedophilia, turn the shit over to the cops. Let them investigate. That's the people that should be investigating if there's any investigation to be done. Not a couple low-level, low-life, loser public school administrators. My God. So gave him my letter, said I'm done. I had 65 days of leave saved up, so I requested that the superintendent, the district, approve me to just be on leave through the rest of 2020. I would be able to use up a bunch of my leave. That would get me to the end of December, which is when I would be able to get credit for my 13th year of teaching and also meet the rule of 80 and retire. So that's what I did. One embarrassing thing that these assholes did was they were already ready for me. I don't know what they were going to say. I'm sure they were just going to go through some kind of little dog and pony show, you know, leave me on administrative leave for a few days while they pretend to do an investigation. Next thing you know, I'm back in the classroom. And of course, by that point, everybody's asking, what happened? What happened? Man, I wasn't interested in going through that shit again. So, you know what? I'm done, and no regrets at all. I mean, I had planned to teach till I was 70, so I guess I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get to do that. But now I'm done. I'm retired, got my military pension, my Social Security's coming in, got my Veterans Administration disability pension, and I've got my teacher pension. So I'm pretty much everything I own is paid for. So now I'm living the life. Got a chance to tell my story, and this actually is the last one. I think I've told it. I don't know how many minutes it is up to now, but that's my story. 25 videos. I encourage you to watch them. I appreciate it if you do watch them. Still, you can leave a comment if you'd like. Not too late to subscribe to my channel if you want to. I am going to be doing other videos, but I feel really good. I feel really happy that I'm done. 25 videos, and I told my entire teacher story and the way I got screwed over many times, and definitely just told the people at the end, now, done being screwed over. I quit. I'm done. Rule of 80. Get my pension. Happy. Anyway, let me let you go. Until next time, bye-bye.